The Clash of Faith and Tradition, the story of Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi. Hello viewers, you are now watching African Folktales by EC. Please subscribe to this channel and thank to those who have subscribed before. The story of Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi. In a small African village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, two men held the hearts and minds of the people: Pastor Malachi, a devout Christian leader, and Dr. Kofi, a revered traditional healer. Both men were deeply respected, but their beliefs clashed like the thunderclouds over the savanna. The arrival of Pastor Malachi. Pastor Malachi arrived in the village with a Bible in hand and a vision in his heart. He had heard of the villagers' reliance on traditional practices and was determined to bring the light of Christianity to their lives. Charismatic and passionate, his sermons in the small wooden church often drew large crowds. "Christ is the way, the truth, and the life," he declared. "No more should you turn to the spirits of old for guidance. Seek salvation in him." Many villagers were moved by his words, and a growing number began to attend his services. The wisdom of Dr. Kofi. Dr. Kofi had served the village for decades, treating illnesses with herbs, interpreting dreams, and mediating disputes through ancient wisdom. He believed the spirits of ancestors watched over the people, guiding and protecting them. When some villagers stopped seeking his counsel, he grew concerned. "The ancestors do not abandon us," he told his followers. "It is we who risk abandoning them. Beware of forgetting where you come from." A fateful confrontation. One day, Pastor Malachi organized a large prayer gathering near the sacred baobab tree, where Dr. Kofi often held rituals. The pastor's prayers, amplified by a loudspeaker, echoed across the village, disrupting the doctor's healing session. Infuriated, Dr. Kofi stormed to the gathering, his staff striking the ground with each step. "You disrespect our traditions," he bellowed. "This tree is sacred. It holds the spirits of our ancestors." Pastor Malachi stood firm. "There is only one God, and he does not dwell in trees. Your ways lead people away from the truth." The confrontation drew a crowd, and tensions escalated as villagers took sides. Some defended Dr. Kofi's deep knowledge and connection to their heritage, while others supported Pastor Malachi's message of hope and salvation. The storm and the revelation. As the argument reached a fever pitch, dark clouds gathered and a fierce storm broke out. Lightning struck the baobab tree, splitting it in two. The crowd gasped, taking the event as a divine sign. Dr. Kofi saw it as a warning from the ancestors. "This is what happens when we let discord divide us," he said solemnly. Pastor Malachi interpreted it differently. "God calls us to unity and understanding. Let this be a sign to work together for the good of the village." A new understanding. The storm marked a turning point. Realizing the damage their feud had caused, Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi agreed to meet. Over the course of several days, they discussed their beliefs, seeking common ground. While they could not reconcile all their differences, they found ways to coexist. Pastor Malachi invited Dr. Kofi to speak at his church about the importance of respecting heritage, while Dr. Kofi began incorporating moments of silent prayer to the Christian God in his rituals. The villagers, seeing their leaders unite despite their differences, followed suit. Together, they blended old and new traditions, creating a community rooted in both faith and heritage. The legacy. Years later, the story of Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi became a tale of wisdom for the villagers. The split baobab tree, now growing new shoots, stood as a symbol of unity and renewal. It reminded the people that even when beliefs clash, understanding and respect can heal the deepest divides. The harmony established between Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi slowly transformed the village into a unique beacon of cultural and spiritual unity. The two leaders became symbols of compromise and respect, their influence weaving a rich tapestry of collaboration that inspired future generations. A test of unity. Years after the storm, the village faced a new challenge. A mysterious illness swept through, leaving many bedridden and the rest desperate for answers. The villagers turned to both Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi for guidance. Dr. Kofi examined the symptoms, retreating into the forest to gather herbs and seek wisdom from the spirits. Meanwhile, Pastor Malachi rallied his congregation to pray for healing, urging the sick and their families to have faith. At first, their approaches ran parallel, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. Some villagers doubted Dr. Kofi's methods, calling them outdated. Others questioned the efficacy of prayer, demanding tangible solutions. Faith is not enough, one elder told Pastor Malachi. The people need medicine. And medicine without faith is empty, Pastor Malachi replied calmly. Both men knew the stakes were higher than ever. If they failed to work together, the illness could devastate the community. A joint effort. In a remarkable act of humility, Pastor Malachi approached Dr. Kofi at the sacred baobab tree, now a shared meeting place. The illness grows worse, the pastor admitted. I believe God has given you wisdom through the earth. How can I help? Dr. Kofi, touched by the pastor's sincerity, replied, And I believe your prayers strengthen the spirit. Together, we can save our people. The two devised a plan. Dr. Kofi would prepare herbal remedies, while Pastor Malachi would organize care teams to deliver the medicine and pray over the afflicted. The pastor also enlisted members of his congregation to help Dr. Kofi gather herbs and prepare treatments, fostering a spirit of collaboration. The miracle of unity. Over the following weeks, the joint efforts of Dr. Kofi and Pastor Malachi began to bear fruit. The herbal treatments eased the symptoms, and the prayers brought comfort and hope to the sick. Slowly but surely, the illness began to recede. The villagers, witnessing the power of their leaders' cooperation, came to see the value in both traditions. They no longer viewed faith and heritage as opposing forces, but as complementary strengths that enriched their lives. The recovery was celebrated with a grand feast. Pastor Malachi blessed the gathering, thanking God for unity, while Dr. Kofi led a traditional dance to honor the ancestors. Together they reminded the villagers that their strength lay in their ability to embrace both the old and the new. A lasting legacy. As the years passed, the story of the illness became a defining chapter in the village's history. Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi grew older. Their once vivid differences mellowed into mutual respect and deep friendship. When Dr. Kofi passed away, Pastor Malachi delivered a heartfelt eulogy. Dr. Kofi taught me that God's wisdom is vast and often revealed through the earth and the people who live closest to it. His legacy will endure in the hearts of this village. Years later, when Pastor Malachi himself passed, the villagers honored him with a ceremony that blended Christian hymns and traditional rituals. A plaque was placed under the baobab tree bearing the words, "Here lies the story of two men who bridged the divide between faith and tradition, leaving behind a village united in spirit and purpose. The Tree of Life." The baobab tree, once struck by lightning, grew stronger with each passing year. Its roots, symbolic of tradition, and its branches, reaching for the heavens, stood as a living testament to the unity forged by Pastor Malachi and Dr. Kofi. The villagers continued to gather under its shade for celebrations, prayers, and storytelling, ensuring that the lessons of the past were never forgotten. And so the legacy of the pastor and the nature doctor lived on, a powerful reminder that even in the face of conflict, understanding and respect can transform division into harmony.